Everyone, we were on the meeting. Sorry for the technical issue that I had faced. Um, for my presentation, for my discussion for this meeting would be on language editing in academic writing. This is what I thought of. I would talk to you. I mean, I would share some of my ideas for you on this meeting. So, I'm Dr. Suresh Babu from BVRIT, Hyderabad. I'm working as assistant professor of English, and uh, yeah, for this thing, I would like to show. I would like to share some thoughts on what is language editing and proofreading, and what else the authors keep in mind, particularly when we talk about language aspects. I'm not. My focus is on confining to just language editing, not the entire editing. I have confined myself to a few things that are to be important. That's what I felt, and I prepared a few slides. So before I start with, I would like to uh, show you how others, how experts, people who are in writing or have been writing, would say something about technical writing or academic writing, whatever writing that comes to our mind. If you look at Ginses, he talks about good writing has a aliveness that keeps the reader reading from one paragraph to the next one. Because all the teachers, as we know, all the teachers, those who are with me on this meeting, would be really facing a lot of problems in terms of students reading and writing also. Therefore, writing in general, there are many issues that are involved. But I confine myself to writing in terms of writing papers, research papers, assignments, and so on and so forth. So even this very famous quote, I just love to share with you, means, Francis Bacon always says that, reading make the full man, conference a ready man, writing an exact man. So writing in a sense that when we ask our students to see which skill, to ask them, say, what is the skill that you would like to learn, or let us say out of 4 skills, LSRW skills, which skill is easier, or which skill is easier or difficult. So when I ask them, they would respond saying that writing is easy because paper is given. When we ask them to write something about their village, something about their college, something about the celebration they celebrated, or the kind of event that happened, so they start writing. Because out of 4 skills, majority of the students say reading, that's fine. But the other speaker, the first speaker, Jaresh sir, talked about a lot critical reading. But when it comes to thinking, usually people say that reading is easy because they have been habituated for a long time. And whenever we open a text, English text, usually we find the reading comprehension, reading text. Therefore, since they are familiar, they say reading is easy. But in practical sense, in reality, it is not that much easy. But we know how difficult it is to make the people read, or create a kind of curiosity or interest in them to read a lot, or to be good readers, or maybe like critical readers. So this is how some very few say that listening is also easy, and some also would say that writing is also easy, because this writing and reading are very much familiar for them. Therefore, with their familiarity, they would say these things are easy, these skills are easy. But when we look at from the researchers' perspective or experts, and we would see so many difficulties. Now, Jinser also says, I just make it clear that if you find that writing is hard, because it is hard. Because once it is written, we can't take it back. When I am speaking, if the audience may not be able to understand, if my students can't get, so I again rephrase and say that I can summarize it another way, because it's an oral talk. But when it comes to writing, there is no other go, that what is written is written. That's it. That's it. Therefore, it is difficult in a sense that how to start writing a research paper. So what kind of title would be there? how we can make an appropriate title to get the attention of the editors. So how we put a small paragraph, how we divide the paragraphs, what kind of subheadings we have to give. So this is how writing involves, to my sense, many activities or many things that we need to keep in mind. So when it comes to language editing, when we are talking about language editing, I think the immediate word that comes to our mind is paraphrasing, or proofreading, right? So I'm just confining myself to language editing in a sense that usually when we browse or when we look at any kind of editing, so that these are the commonalities that we often found. I just listed a few. It's not the fully lengthy list. It's a list that I confine myself for showing you or talking to you about this. So the majority of the things, the editing involves in grammatical mistakes. We'll have to correct them. So I think most of us might have proofread or might have edited a lot of papers or books or theses. Therefore, grammatically, if we find any mistake, usually we may try to correct it. We have to correct it, because when it is when the paper is submitted to the editor or an thesis is submitted to the department, usually there is a notion that they have to check with the English teachers or people who are good at language. So therefore, grammatical mistakes, punctuation marks, most of the cases, some spellings, and then usage, word order usage. Word order, how certain words are used in certain contexts, and then eliminating a kind of bias. So these are the 4 or 5 things we have to keep in mind when we are talking about language editing. So I just focused my talk only a few things. Let me show you. So my focus would be this is very familiar words or phrases to people, particularly people from English department, those who have joined from English department or English teachers or English professors. I think this is a very common thing that we always discuss in our classrooms, right? So very briefly, because this is not purely on the kind of not only it not only focuses on research aspect or research papers, it also focuses a general idea, but I have taken examples from the research point of view, how certain papers are written, how certain frequently used errors are repeated in research papers, and theses or assignments that the students or the authors submit for various purposes. So this is one of the things that often people commit mistake or mistakes. A comma place occurs when 2 independent clauses. Generally, I have also evaluated a few theses where I worked earlier in the university, where I was one of the members of the English Language Correction Committee. So therefore, when a department people, people from technical department, when they send their when they are about to submit their theses, they have to check the language errors from the Department of English. So the very, to my knowledge, or as far as I am concerned, I found the using of comma is often ignored. Sometimes it is used redundantly, or it is too much of comma is also used. So sometimes it is extremely used, sometimes it is not at all used, it is completely ignored. So one thing is that very simple, because most of the cases very simple language is preferable when we write any research paper or any small project. Therefore, if you look at the example, because here is the results of 6 independent experiments did not differ significantly, this indicates that the experimental procedure was reliable. We can put comma here, but if we make it 2 small sentences, because these are the 2 complete sentences, these are all independent clauses. So I think
sorry to interrupt you, sir.
Sorry?
Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah,
Sorry,
only we can see your first slide, sir.
Sorry, I didn't get you, sir.
I think only we can see your first slide.
Oh.
Slide is not moving.
It's not moving.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
We can see your first slide only.
Oh, this one only.
Yeah, on the front page.
Okay,
Slide
okay,
number 1.
Okay, sir. Yeah. I'll check because I'm moving, but I thought it's.
It's sliding now, sir. It's sliding.
Now it is fine, ma'am. Is it fine?
Yes, yes.
Yes, moving.
Okay. Thank you. So this is what I have talked about. I thought it would be visible to you. For me, it's coming. I don't know what went wrong with this. This is yeah. These are the 4 or 5 issues that are surrounded with this language editing, and then my focus would be here on comma, capitalization, length of sentences, redundancy, and kind of verbs, how they are used, whether they are using strong verbs or weak verbs, right? So yeah. Now, this is what I would like to show you. The results of the 6 independent experiments did not differ significantly. This is a full sentence, right? Then this indicates that the experimental procedure was reliable. So the 2 independent clauses are incorrectly separated here. There are 2 independent, so that they should be separated, right? So sentences of this sort would be a kind of confusion for the editor or for the reader. When somebody reads, usually these sentences may not be appropriate for them. They may get irritated to read the text. Therefore, this should be split up into 2 sentences. Like the first one, the results of 6 independent experiments did not differ significantly, and this indicates that the experimental procedure was reliable. So we can make unnecessarily using with incorrect comma, we can make it 2 sentences. So this is how comma spy, because I have taken 1 or 2 examples from each 2 to 3 components. Therefore, we could manage the time. I was asked to, proceed for at least 40 minutes, but I think 10 minutes time is already gone with this adjusting the technology and all.
Raju.
Now,
Raju,
so
sir.
this comma is also with this introductory word template. So, some of you might not have.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, please. Yeah, thank you. So another aspect is that we'll have to look at what kind of interactive words or phrases that we are looking at, that we are using in our documents or in our research papers. So this is a very common way of looking at things. Most of the cases, interactive words are very important, because they may change the idea of the the idea of the author. Therefore, in most of the cases, I think you might have found that these introductory words or sometimes transition words, these connectives are missing in most of the cases. For this, if you look at this small example, in this study, generally I put it here, but usually you can find in the firstly, for example, we have taken a data from the respondent, then we analyzed, then we compared the effectiveness of so-and-so. So for this, like for the introductory sentence like this, in this study, usually people do not use comma. So therefore, it is impossible that we can't get the correct meaning, correct sense of the sentence. Therefore, all these introductory words should have a kind of proper connection. Therefore, it would be more readable. And one more aspect of this comma is that, this is the fan voice, this is acronym. I think you might have seen, those who are from English department or English background might have seen this kind of acronym saying, most of the cases use a comma to separate 2 independent clauses when they are joined by a coordinating conjunction. So all these are coordinating conjunctions for, first stands for F stands for for, A stands for and, N stands for nor, B for but, sometimes it's a subordinate conjunctions also, O for or, Y for yet, yes for so. So all coordinating conjunctions. So these are also missing. Therefore, before them, they have to use. So whenever they see these kind of coordinate conjunctions in a sentence, before that they have to use comma. Like in this study, sensitivity to feedback in classrooms was not considered for the outcome, but it is relevant and should have been taken into account. So before but, comma must be there because it's a coordinating conjunction, right? So this is how 2 or 3 things that I focused as far as comma related errors are concerned. Now, if you look at capitalization, so this is also one of the things that I have found, because most of the cases, like specific names must be capitalized, but specific names like places, persons, things, deities, religious followers, sacred books, and family relations. I have to give an example because they're very familiar. So most of the cases, the first word, many of the things, if we overlook the editing part and the proofreading part, usually these errors will crop up in our writing. Therefore, we have to capitalize proper nouns, not a common noun. Now look at this one. Capitalize the first, last, and all major words in titles and subtitles of works. So when we put a title for our paper or for a research project, usually we give a title, but many of the cases, some of the words are not capitalized. Like if you look at the first one, this sentence, a guide to writing research papers for non-native speakers of English. So if it is not capitalized, I think the crux of the language is missing. So though it looks we can get the meaning and sense of it, but somewhere it is missing. Therefore, we'll have to look at, see whether certain words are capitalized or not. So if you look at the second example, an overview of COVID-19's impact on English language university admissions and placement tests. So every first word is capitalized. So this is how we have to take care of when we give certain titles or any kind of subtitles of our works. And this is another example: enhancing communicative competence through authentic materials, a study. E is capitalized, C is capitalized, C, A, M, A again, then yes. So likewise, all chapter titles, subtitles of the chapters, or any major divisions in our paper, in our research paper, or any kind of assignment or thesis, we have to capitalize certain titles and subtitles, and also the proper names, whether it is a place name or a thing name or a kind of person's name, they have to be capitalized. Though it looks very minute, but it matters a lot. Now, another aspect is that how long our sentences are. When we write something, whether it is really acceptable, whether it is really looking at in a positive way or not. So if you look at the kind of data that is available, the longer your sentence is, the greater the chance it will be misunderstood. So approximately 90% of people understand an 8-word sentence at their first reading, right? So only 4% understand the lengthy words like, a sentence which has 27 or 25 or 35, something like that. So this is how it is. So our sentences must be very simple and properly coherent. Walwork also says, all referees will appreciate if your language is very simple. If your paper is written in a simple English without any ambiguity, therefore your paper may be accepted. It is not that you have to bombard with lot of words or phrases or critical kind of words or phrases to impress the people, right? So this is how it is. In a survey of students at Stanford University, around 86% people said they use complicated language when writing scientific papers just to make the people more knowledgeable and sound more and intelligent. So when they use a kind of words, powerful words which are not necessary in that particular context, they want to show off that they are knowledgeable and intelligent. But when it comes to referees or editors, they don't mind whether you're intelligent or knowledgeable, but they mind, I mean, as far as language is concerned, I'm talking about. So as far as language is concerned, they see the clarity of it, whether it is properly expressed or not, whether it is poorly structured or properly structured. So this kind of things they would always see. Therefore, they may accept the paper. Sometimes looking at these kind of bombastic language, sometimes papers may be rejected because they may not be able to communicate properly the kind of thing that they want to convey. And generally, this is I think this is a very common notion that in Shakespeare times, words were lengthy, sentences were very lengthy. It could have 45 words. So after coming back, I mean, over the years, 150 years ago, if you look at, it was around 29 words, the length of the sentences. Now, I mean, today's people think that it is around 15 to 18 words, or maybe approximately around 25 words of length. Therefore, people could easily read and understand what else the author is talking about. So this is how the impact of long sentences or shorter sentences. For example, if you look at the first one, we did several surveys which all gave the same result, right? So it is just it's not that much long, just 10 words. So we can easily understand. Even a layman who reads your text or your paper can understand, because whenever we write something, it is for the reader, not for you to understand, because you have already written, you have already worked on it. Therefore, whatever we write, it is meant for the reader. What are our audience? Therefore, if somebody reads, therefore, we get, as researchers, we get some citations. If people understand, therefore, they read and they may quote. Therefore, readability is important as far as mine is concerned. Therefore, if you look at the second sentence, we did several surveys aimed at investigating whether stress increases in proportion to the number of children a couple has, and each survey led to the same result. That is, that there is no correlation, thus confining the hypothesis that stress in the family is generally connected to factors other than the size. I don't know, even I am confusing when I am reading. I'm not able to understand because it is connected with that there, thus, again, the hypothesis that stress in the family. So many conjunctions, right? The word has 51 words long, right? So this is how the longer sentences might, give a kind of dissatisfaction, or might give a kind of ambiguity. Therefore, people do not read. If it is readable, you can get many readers. Otherwise, they may read, first paragraph, second paragraph, or maybe first page. And if it is very difficult to understand, then usually they may skip off, right? Now, another example for you. The aim of the study was to assess the effects of sending children away to school at the age of 8 and its impact on their adult life, particularly after the age of 50, and thus to reach some definitive conclusions as to whether boarding schools, those schools where children study and sleep, actually fulfill the important educational and social role that they claim to have. So I think we can make this is only single sentence. We can just split up into 2 sentences if possible, right? Now you see the version of it. For example, I have made it like this. I mean, there are other ways to split up the thing. So the aim of the study was to assess the effects of sending children away to school at the age of 8 and its impact on their adult life, particularly after the age of 50. And another simple sentence is that the ultimate objective was to reach some definitive conclusions as to whether boarding schools actually fulfill the important educational and social roles that they claim to have. So instead of writing long sentences, it would be always better for us, or for the referees or editor, for the reader, to have a simple one or a shorter one. And another aspect that I would like to focus is redundancy. In each of the sentences, below there is one redundant word, find the redundant word. So all the time there are words which are repeated. So if you take a look at a minute or just half a minute, you will find the first one is done as an example. If you look at the other 3 sentences, I mean, you can understand easily that what the extra word is, what is a redundant word, what is repeated here. Can I have a look at? Yes, second one, if you look at dynamics and velocity are typical characteristics of this species. For example, characteristics, typical, almost all relate the same. I mean, they give the same meaning. They may connotate in a similar way. Therefore, I think it is easy for us to read without characteristics. Typical itself includes different characters, right? So if you look at this third one, their head office is located in London. So their head office is located in London. You just remove this, delete this, locate. Their head office is in London. That is enough, right? So if there is water present in the system, this may cause rust. If there is water present in the system, if there is water in the system, this may cause rust, right? So present is not necessary. This is how redundant sentences are always confusing for the people to read your draft. Now, I think this is a very common thing that we can find. Most of the cases we make it very tough using lengthy sentences. Therefore, in order to make the text or your draft easy, you have to use different adverbs and adjectives. You will have to eliminate different adjectives or adverbs which are not necessary, right? For example, major breakthrough, you can make it breakthrough. Serious danger, danger is enough. Few in number, few is enough. A large proportion of many. Large proportion is like, instead of using 1, 2, 3, 4 words, you can use many, a single word. At this point in time, or at present, something like that. Now you can say use simple word now. In this day and age, you can say today. So these kind of redundant adverbs or words might not be necessary. You will have to find out which word exactly expresses the exact meaning of certain exact meaning of the context. Use strong verbs. When it comes to using different verbs, people use different verbs which may not be strong. If you use strong verbs, it indicates that it highlights your point of discussion, right? So, for example, the first one may be weak. Look at it. The primary focus of Steinberg's work is racism in the American school system. So here there is a focus is a noun, the primary focus of somebody's work. But if you make it as a verb, then it looks so stronger. So Steinberg's work focuses on racism. So this verb is most important. What exactly you're trying to say, what exactly you're going to highlight, right? So if you look at the second one, there is a disagreement. This is a noun, but instead of using nouns, you better use verb forms so that your argument looks so strong. Then I think this is a very common thing that I found to remind you. Past tense is used for historical things. Present tense for literature. When we write a review of literature, most of the cases that should be in present tense. And sometimes, sciences also, many of the cases, all the experiments are explained in present tense, except in lab experiment. And in that case, when we are particularly explaining lab reports, sometimes we may go for past tense also. So replace unnecessary to be forms like be, been, is, am, or was, or something like with stronger verbs. So stronger verbs are more preferred than the weak verbs or nouns. You have to use active voice. So if you look at the example, it has been determined that the Black and Latino students are more severely punished than white students. So now who is the agent here? So if you look at the second one, according to several researchers, Black and Latino students are more severely punished than white students. So this is the way you have to write. You have to use active voice when it comes to your writing. Now, the other this is a quote. I just look at it. No other dislikes to be edited as much as he dislikes not to be published. So if someone writes, it is for publication. If no one dislikes, if someone wants to read your paper or edit your paper, re-editing and rereading, so it is very happy, because we love to do that, because refinement will be there for every proofreading or every editing. So therefore, there may be a chance of publishing things, right? So this is how I planned. I'm extremely sorry because I have planned my journey to catch the train. I thought I would be the second, 7:50, something like that. But I'm extremely sorry. If there are any questions, maybe one or two I'll take. I have to catch the train by 9. Now it is 1:45. So I think I'm a little bit rushed to conclude. My sincere apologies for the organizers. If you have any one or two questions quickly, please. Yes, ma'am. If you have any questions, please. Hello. Yeah, if you have any questions, please ask me. Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
sir. You have given in detail, sir. That's fine. We understood, sir. You are in a hurry. Please carry on, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
The
Thank you
session
for
is
the organizers.
covered all the points which are related to writing part and editing part, sir. The
Thank you.
grammatical concerned topics you have covered, and this is what and the cliche if you have covered, that is all. That would also be fine, sir.
Okay,
Cliches.
thank you.
Yeah.
Suresh sir, it was a wonderful section. We enjoyed the section, sir.
But all the time I have these technical issues. I don't know why. Because okay, thank you, Joyce.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful presentation. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much for joining in.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. So we have come to the end of today's session. Please join in for the third day of the workshop tomorrow at 6 p.m. IST. Thank you very much and have a pleasant night.
Excuse me, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
I would just like to know that will we get the material that the presenters are sharing later on?
I'll ask the organizers and let you know.
Yeah, that would be really grateful to you, because they have the content which they have been sharing is really very informative. And at times it happens like that we have been traveling or returning from our job to home. So during journey we have been listening. So it is not possible for us to take down some notes also. So it would be really helpful to us if you share the content.
Okay, ma'am. I'll let you know.
Yep. Thank you.